All right, so Project Pool House Cupola has begun. This cupola was originally on the attached garage and had this really cool weather vane on top of it. And when we built the addition, the bonus room and everything, we took it off and set it aside, hoping to use it again at some point. It's not the right scale for the new addition. We thought maybe we'd put it on the detached garage, but it's really not big enough for that either. So when we started building the pool house, we're like, hey, that would be a great place for the old cupola. It'd look really good on that. So we brought it down here in the back of the Harley cart there a few minutes ago and took the weather vane off, and it's in good shape. I think we just need to do a little paint on the balls here, but the original kind of textured finish on the weather vane itself, we like that. It's antiqued, it's aged. So we're gonna leave that and then maybe paint these, or maybe we'll leave those too, I don't know. So those are pretty cool. And we started dissecting this thing a little bit, trying to figure out how to better support the weather vane, because when we picked it up just now, it was barely hanging on. And you can see that it was really just kind of screwed into the copper, and then there's some wood bracing underneath there with a little like thin plywood, 1/4-inch plywood, that the copper's attached to. So there wasn't a whole lot of meat there to hold this thing. So we flipped it over to see if there were some ways that we could reinforce it. And we found a whole crap load of wasp nests. Looks like that thing was home to about 1,000 wasps in its day. And then we figured out the way that it was constructed. So it's got some plywood spines there, 4 of those. And then they come together with a piece of wood up there at the top. And then again, that 1/4-inch plywood was bent against the curved spines and nailed in place. So pretty simple construction. And then the base is built out of some square stock and then some pretty simple louvers and everything else. So there's just not a whole lot to this thing. You can see by the wood there that it's definitely had some water damage. It's been leaking for quite some time. So there's a little bit of rot up in this corner. That spine has a little bit of rot in it. So my plan is to start cutting some blocks to reinforce the top. So I'm going to do some triangular blocks with a compound cut so that they will slide neatly up into the top there, and I'll glue and then pin nail those in place. And then off of that, I should be able to build a brace that can come down and maybe meet up with the louvered box and kind of support the whole thing so that the weight of the cupola, or the weight of the weather vane, is transferred down off the cupola onto the base and then onto the roof itself. Hopefully that'll hold it more securely and we won't have to worry about it falling over or falling off. So I'm going to clean out all the wasp nests and then go ahead and start experimenting with some blocking, see what I can get to fit up in there, and then we'll start gluing those and nailing those in place. Should be an interesting project. So I just finished adding some beef, some support to our cupola, and as you can see, those wedges that I glued and nailed in there originally are down in the very bottom. Then I took a 2x4 and took 2 2x4s, cut them so they would interlock, and then screwed those to the wedges that were down there in between the supports originally. Screwed those together and glued them, and then screwed them to the wood below. Then took a straight edge, found out how long I need to make this upright here, and then built a couple of braces there to anchor it in place, and then cut a couple of cross braces to keep that upright stiff and in place, and also to carry some support to the sides here, because it was a little wiggly before I added the support, but now we've got plenty of stiffness in there. So we should be able to get this thing up on the porch, or up on the roof of the pool house. And then we'll be able to go ahead and get our weather vane screwed back in place, and we'll have plenty of wood and plenty of support for the weather vane. It'll actually carry the weight of the weather vane down to the platform that they build on top of the pool house. So rather than being supported by this thin layer of plywood and some copper, it'll actually be screwed to wood, which will be carry the weight down to the roof. And you know, these braces and everything will keep it from twisting. So it should give us enough support. A lot cheaper than going out and buying a brand new one. And I'm going to go ahead and work on our crown. Take this loose and put it back in place. Get the gaps right again. Nail it back in place. And then just straighten up the copper a little bit, and it'll be ready for Amber to paint. And go ahead and get it mounted back up on top.